to you. You ready? Casey, go ahead.
Matt, we pretty much talk about depth every game. What does it say about Mason Gillis and his ability to come in off the bench, fifth year here, and grab 5 rebounds in the first 4 minutes?
Yeah, I thought him and Trey. Trey was kind of, once again, Trey was a victim of those turnovers. Thank you. If you guys need any Jacksonville stats, we got them right here.
Trevor Lawrence, please.
No question. We had those turnovers in the first 4 or 5 minutes, and so but he had nothing to do with them. And so once again, I talked to you last time about being a victim of circumstance, but I thought he was around the basketball. I thought he did some really good things, and then Mason subbed in, and Mason was great, and got some tough rebounds, got just second effort plays, and that's what we need. It's what we need from everybody. It's just to make that second effort, keep going after the ball, keep it alive if you can't get it. But I thought Mason really gave us some positive play.
Matt, a year ago at this time you had no losses. This year obviously you have the one, but it feels like this team is performing better at this point. Fletcher and Braden being sophomores now, do you feel like you're more prepared for this post-holiday run of Big Ten Gauntlet now maybe this year?
Yeah, but with that being said, we still haven't won a road game. We're going into a Beehive that, they didn't lose any home games last year in conference play. I think their only loss was against UCLA in non-conference play, who they just beat on the road. So yeah, I feel like we've made strides. We have experience. We had some guys that went through some things last year, and now it's our group kind of has some different guys off the bench that play more. It depends on the night, kind of how things kind of unfold. And so we have a lot of depth, but we still, you have to have balance. And I think we've had balance, even though we didn't shoot great from 3 tonight. I think that balance of being able to play on the interior, play off of ball screens with Braden, and then be able to knock down shots and keeping our turnovers low. We out-rebound by 21 tonight, but our turnovers are at 11, and that's a pretty good number. I know our average is around 12 and a half, but I think if we can keep it around 10, we put ourselves in a really good position.
Now, if you go back to the conference play, from your first 2 conference games, what have you kind of learned about your club that can help you now as you jump into it?
Yeah, I think what jumps out more than anything is the turnovers in the game that we lost. I think when you go back and you really dissect the games that we've lost here the last 2 or 3 years, that's probably the #1 common denominator. I think that's probably holds true for a lot of people. You're going to have games where you play well and you just don't shoot well, but in the games that you don't give yourself enough opportunities because you turn it over, those are the ones that really hurt you, especially when you have a good rebounding team.
With that being said, tonight you guys had 5 turnovers right out the gate, I think, before the first time out. Do you
Right.
think that this team has a better ability to recognize that the floodgates are opening and slow that down?
It's such a group answer, when in reality, one guy had 3 turnovers and one guy had 2. Did you guys by chance interview him? You can ask him that question. So, Braden's triple threat to start the game and come through. He gets his hand hit. Lance has a speed dribble and just loses the basketball off his leg. So I think your turnovers that really hurt you, for me going forward, is the ones where you're not trying to do what we're asking you to do. I don't think, obviously we were careless with the ball there, but I don't think there was anybody trying to do things outside of what they can do or what we need them to do. Because they're all a little different, right? One's handling the ball dribble and one's passing, so forth and so on. But no, I think we have, a team, and especially Braden. Braden had a couple turnovers, in that Northwestern game, and simply just trying to tell him, you can play 35 minutes, you can get dogged the whole game and still not turn the ball over. Halliburton doesn't. Hey man, the great ones do it. Don't turn the basketball over. But not everybody can do that. Not everybody falls in that bucket, but he can. And so that's really to run a team and then guard the basketball and take care of the basketball. It's a chore, but he has the makeup and the skill set to do that. And And he has done that for us. You know, I think he's only had one of those games, maybe two of those games, you know, out of the 13 we've played, whatever we've played.
I have no idea if you set benchmarks in the back of your mind for young players in terms of here's where I want these guys to be by the end of non-conference play. But where are Miles and Cam right now in terms of where you kind
Yeah.
of want them to be going to the Big Ten play?
Yeah, you know, I would like all of them to play more, but you know, it's really hard. You know, you would think organically we would work our way to where our rotation is a little bit less at 8 or at 9, and we haven't gotten there just because all those guys have, you know, done some good things for us. And it's not going to be when you play 10 minutes a game. It's not going to be every night for you. It just isn't. And I thought Cam gave us, you know, some really good things. I told Miles as he came off, like, don't equate missing shots to playing poorly. Like, you did some good things. You see, sometimes you can play 12 minutes and not have a lot of opportunities. Sometimes you play 12 minutes and you get some opportunities. And so tonight he got some and he didn't knock them down, but you know, he's knocked down some shots for us against Xavier. He knocked down some shots, you know, against Gonzaga. And then I thought, you know, Cam showed his athleticism, caught a couple dunks today, was around the basketball, you know, knocked down a shot. So Cam's really worked from a defensive standpoint and really helped us along those lines. So, but no, both of those guys have done some good things. Like I don't benchmark it that way. I just watch, evaluate, try to help them, and kind of go off field in terms of substitutions, even though there are obviously some patterns.
Matt, we talked before the game about 3 years of non-conference wins and what it means. Now that you're on the other side of it, what does it mean not just for the big wins, but not to have any upsets in that 3 years about your team?
Yeah, there's reasons to put you in the tournament. There's reasons to keep you out, right? So you can look at it both ways in terms of knocking a seed line down. And no, it's quite an accomplishment. You know, it's a player's game, and you know, you got to get guys organized. You got to get them on the same page. But to be able to get the wins that we've been able to get here in the last 3 years of non-conference to help us prepare, you know, for conference play is quite an accomplishment. And, in the last 10 years, we've had the most conference wins in the Big Ten. The last 5 years, especially, and to be able to have that non-conference and conference, you know, is a real testament to our guys. I think that's what gets lost sometimes. Where it gets lost that we don't quite have the players, but we obviously do. You just don't have the most wins in the Big Ten in the last 10 years. You don't have players. We have good players.
Hey, Coach. Just switching gears, Shadowing Sam, doing a feature on one of your former teammates, Ryan Burning, who is a referee now at the elementary and middle school levels. How important is it to have a person like Ryan educating and being a basketball educator at a hands-on level for the people within this community? And maybe are you gonna hopefully advocate for more of that? You know, former college players that are now teaching, you know, by reffing at the middle school and youth levels.
Yeah, well, I think that's cool. I mean, obviously you got a guy that, you know, played at a high level, you know, started here at Purdue as a player, and then to be an official and, you know, to help young guys and teach them how to play the game and how to handle themselves. I think that's what gets lost sometimes with really young guys is what they see is an elite players playing, and it means a lot to them. You know what I mean? And so, but sometimes that emotional outburst or whatever, you know, they have to be able to learn as a young player to play the game the right way, but handle themselves the right way. And, you know, I think that's, you know, for someone like Ryan Burning to give us time to do that is pretty cool. You know, he texted me the other night about something, and I was bragging about my 185 in bowling when we won the bowling championship. And I'm a terrible bowler. So 185 when you're a really bad bowler is really good. And he told me he bowled after we left, and he had like a 221, 224, and 217. I was like, you know, I didn't feel as good after that. So, but we still won our championship, and so no, that's pretty cool that Ryan does that. That he, you know, helps out the community and you know, sets the right example for young guys.
Is there anything else? Sam Russell.
I know when Mason got here, he was hurt and kind of had to wait his time for, you know, basically 3 years of waiting to play a basketball game. But
Right.
when he was on the court, kind of getting in the flow of things, was this kind of doing the dirty work, diving on the floor stuff ingrained in him already, or is that something he's kind of learned through his time here?
Yes, no, he's a competitive guy. You know, in high school, and you know, he's always been a guy that's trained really hard. At times he'll actually overtrain. You know, he puts in a lot of time on his game and just trying to be a player. It's frustrating for him because he has to timeshare because we have a pretty good front line. I think it's frustrating for all those guys. That's where we are, right? And Mason's worked really hard to help our program. And but no, he's always been wired that way. He's always been. I think a lot of times you get, as a coach, you get credit for something that was, he was raised the right way. He had good high school coaches. He's been competitive, and they'd always say like, "Hey, you guys have done a really good job with him." In reality, the people before us did a really good job. And I think that's kind of the part of evaluation that we've made strides in, because you got to be able to check all the boxes. What people don't realize with us is, we're not drafting people. Like, we go and we like somebody, like we still got to get them.
Right.
Like, you know what I mean? And so like at that point, but you have to be able to have someone who wants to get their education here. They want to work. You can't just sign a bunch of people that are going to leave. It makes no sense, right? You got to get people that want to go somewhere and stay there and grow and develop. And, that's what he's done, even though he hasn't played quite as much as he wants to. I always say when he gets mad for not playing, he gets quiet, and I like it when he's that way. I want people to be upset. Like, I don't want people to settle in and just say, "Hey, I'm not playing as much. It's still a big deal." No, it is a big deal. It's your passion. It's what you do, and as long as you're professional about it, like, you got to keep going. But he's been really professional. He helps us. Sometimes he helps us with the shooting. Sometimes he helps us with his hustle, and you can't get enough of that. Thank you.